college. It's awesome to be a part of this live stream. true? Oh, is it true? All of this hell you do. Oh, is it true? Oh, is it true? 'Cause all this shit comes back to you. Oh, is it true that Cincinnati's lying? Oh, is it true? Oh, is it true? 'Cause all this shit comes back to you. Oh, is it true? 'Cause all this shit comes back to you. Oh, is it true that Cincinnati's lying? Oh, is it true? Oh, is it true? 'Cause all this shit comes back to you. All right, we got one more. Thanks again, Jenna, for setting all this up. And yeah, we're along. We will hopefully see you in the real world sometime in the near future. Yes. Real world shows. They're gonna happen someday. The song is called Bottom of the Barrel. And I know love is better when it hurts me, and it hurts a little harder with you. But I just keep on searching just to find love at the bottom of the barrel, Oh. Sink in your I know love is better when it hurts me, and it hurts a little harder with you. But I just keep on searching just to find life at the bottom of the barrel, Yeah, I know love is better when it hurts me, and it hurts a little harder. Hurt me harder, but I just keep on searching just to find you at the bottom of the barrel, of the barrel, of that barrel. Oh. La 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 la. Sweet.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.
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 Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Did you ever know that you're my hero?
Hey, how's it going, KWLC? Thanks for having me today on your virtual concert. As you may know, I just released my 5th solo album on April 30th, and it's called Walala. And today I'm going to play you guys a handful of the songs from that album. And I'm doing a little experiment with this keyboard here. I sometimes use this to just playfully get inspired and come up with song ideas, because it has some kind of very kind of goofy sounds, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to use the drum machine on here to be my backup band and a couple other sounds. So first song I'm gonna play for you guys is called I Will Never Know. Skipping Alright, this song, next song is called Buckeye Bow. A brand new song. Well, I actually wrote it 3 years ago, but it's just recently released on the new album, track 3. And right now I'm just going to play you guys a sort of a stripped down version of it, as I originally wrote it. But on the album recording, at the time I was interested in the Twin Peaks soundtrack by Angelo Badalamenti, really, iconic soundtrack, and I did a little research because I was really obsessed with the string sounds he used, and I found the specific synthesizer that he used, and actually got it and used it on the album a lot. But it really makes its way into Buckeye Bow as this sort of synth orchestra towards the end of the song. So if you want to hear that, check out the album version. Right now I'm just gonna sing and play it for you. Alright, here's Buckeye Bow. Nothing cheers this heart of mine. With her memory on my mind. Ooh, nothing cheers this heart of mine. I break down in the light of dawn, because I know she's moving on. Ooh, I break down in the light of dawn. It don't matter how I try, I'll tear from my dreams with tears in my eyes. Still I find in the blue of twilight, ooh, she'll be gone. Oh dear heaven, show me how to grow strong like a buckeye bough. Ooh, to grow strong like a buckeye bough. Must I wait for it to die? All the love still deep inside. Ooh, must I wait for it to die? It don't matter how I try, I'll tear from my dreams with tears in my eyes. Still I find in the blue of twilight, ooh, she'll be gone. That was Buckeye Bow. Next song I'm going to do for you, and this will be my last tune, so thanks again for having me on the virtual concert today. And I'm gonna do a little set change here. Grab a new guitar and get this keyboard set up one more time. This next one's called Wildcat's Bed, and actually released it on April 2nd as a single. So here we go. Alright, got the steel string guitar here. I live right next door to a hardware store, and it's been getting a tiny bit noisy over there, with trucks moving around and whatnot. But we're gonna go ahead anyway here. This one's called Wildcat's Bed. Dreaming in a wildcat's bed with my true love. Nothing but a lonely cloud in the sky above. After we rise, we'll go tracing the lines in the tide. Then we'll lay dreaming while the wildcats are away. Dreaming in a wildcat's bed where the piper plays, making a sandy home by a whalebone grave. After we rise, we'll go tracing the lines in the tide. Then we'll lay dreaming while the wildcats are away. After we rise, we'll go tracing the lines in the tide. Then we'll lay dreaming while the wildcats are away. Alright, thanks so much, guys. You guys have a good week. And again, check out that new album, Walala, released on April 30th. Take care. Bye-bye.
My first question, my first question for you is, how did you guys start making music together?
Gosh, yeah, we were both in the same Cincinnati music scene, but in different projects. I was doing a solo thing, and Daisy was in a band called Babe Rage that played at a local bar. Like, you had like a residency there? Yeah.
Something like that.
And yeah, and then we ended up for one of the residency nights, like doing a collaboration. It was really fun. It was just cool to like, I don't know, I hadn't played music with Daisy before. And then a couple months later, we were just like, let's just jam and see, you know, how it goes. And that was kind of that.
That's awesome. How did you go from classical to this kind of music?
Well, basically what happened was like I I got a vocal disorder and I couldn't really speak that well for a year, which was actually amazing. It was right after school. It was horrible to, not be able to do what I had like studied to do. But then I went through vocal rehabilitation and started like writing music for fun. And by the time like my voice came back and I could go back into opera, I decided it'd be much more fun to like write music and play in bars and do the DIY scene than do opera. I just like this music better, opera's pretty. I like the vibes of just underground rock music.
Oh, for sure. So how did you guys get into like the genre that you are making? Is it just where you happened to be at the time, or?
Well,
we did a kind of a focus group.
A focus group. Yeah, we did a focus group.
We just started playing and it's what happened. So, and then we just kept doing it.
Awesome.
Yeah. We just sort of, sometimes, the genre that we're in, like if you know what genre we're in, let us know, because I don't know. Like, I'm kind of like, we're weird rock,
Mm-hmm.
Rock is fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you feel like you've had experiences in the past that have like helped you make what you're doing now more of a unique experience, or helped you stand out at all?
I'm sure we have, but I'd be hard pressed to tell you what that would be besides all of it. And that would take a long time.
I think like the easiest answer would be like, I can't play guitar, I can't play the bass, I play the cello. So that sort of makes us stand out a little bit just because of that. It's not intentional, but it's just sort of how it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even play drums.
Yeah, you can.
Is there anything that you draw particular like influences from, artists or other like people that you know maybe?
Oh,
Not really. There's bands we like, but we're not like, hey, let's sound like this band.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. I think it's like we just listen to a really wide variety of music. And so, we probably draw from that, but we don't like have any bands that we're like, let's emulate this thing.
it's not conscious, but it happens. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I'm sure, like I really look up to and love Tori Amos. And so some of the melodies that I do and like the vocal styles are kind of similar to hers. So, but like, I wouldn't say that we sound like Tori Amos necessarily. You know what I mean?
Not exactly anyways.
So we draw from all over the place.
Oh, for sure. Awesome. Let's talk about your new EP. Can you just tell me a little bit about how like that came to be and where you got started with it?
Yeah. Do you want to?
Well, we're friends with Skirt, and they were like, do you want to do I think we talked about doing a split record for a while. So they were like, do you want to do that? And we were like, yes. And then over a long period of time, we had songs that fit together. So we made a record, and it took forever because of, that thing that's been going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Has there been anything specific that like from the pandemic that's affected you guys while making this?
Oh.
Not those specific songs, no, because those songs have kind of been waiting to come out for maybe a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we hit obviously all the regular stuff. We haven't been able to tour,
Mm-hmm.
so we've been practicing a lot and writing more songs. And
Yeah, we have a record coming out later this year that is from like just like this internet collaboration we had back and forth when everything was like really, really shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And that I think is more the album that like sort of explores the different states we were both in this past year. And then the split with Skirt, the songs that we chose to put on that, those ones I feel like are more like are sort of the songs that came from living through the Trump era and like driving around in a van and like touring a bunch of like just doing a lot of like shows, like we got to see a lot of the country and
Mm-hmm.
like have a lot of really cool and really interesting experiences. So I think, yeah, like those songs sort of are just about like, some of just the uncomfortable things of the past 4 years, or I guess forever. Life is always kind of uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Is there any particular like story that stands out from one of the songs that you could maybe tell us?
Ooh, no, I don't know if I can.
you should.
I'll vaguely tell one. There, Which song are you thinking?
The one you're thinking.
How can I tell this?
Just tell it. Just don't say
Yeah,
it.
no, I mean basically like City is Lying is a song that's about like, you know, like there's like the nice guy. There's like this nice guy in your life who seems like a good friend, but not even a good friend, but like a friend. And then they get kind of stalkery on you and like, and they have a history of doing that. Anyway, it was about like a kind of scary experience I had with someone I didn't really know that well, who like definitely got weird in my life and creeped me the fuck out. And yeah, and so I wrote that song because I was just really pissed off at the situation, you know? So like that song is about, I mean, it's about a lot of things. Like you would start writing a song and then it turns into a lot of different other things. It started out just sort of exploring like most women and non-cis men like and even most men, like I don't know if most men, a lot of people experience like a lot of just creepy stalker experiences.
I think it's more non-men.
Yeah, I think it's more
sure
non-men
it happens every
too.
once in a while.
But it's like it's not really talked about all the time, like those kinds of borderline not okay experiences. So yeah, that song's about that, and it's also a little bit about like you know, how some people get called out for their actions and other people don't. And just, I'm not really saying like what's right or what's wrong, but just
it's very political.
Yeah,
so
just
like,
like
if it's everybody's buddy, then sometimes the behavior just, you know, if it's just bad enough, it's not bad enough to become a huge deal. It sort of, you know, slides under the radar. Yeah, especially when it's somebody's pal.
Yep, everybody loves to be buddies and forget about, you know. Anyway.
Oh, totally. Is there a particular track that either of you would consider to be your favorite?
That one's pretty good.
I like that one. I like Stranger Now.
That one's good too. They're all good.
Yeah, I think Stranger Now is fun because it's such a different song from the rest of the record. You know, the rest of the record's pretty like intense and driving. And then when that one comes, it sort of feels like a release.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything like about the album that you think you'd want an audience to like take from it overall?
I think just like listen to it and experience it as an experience. That's what I would want them to do. Is just like sit down with the lights off and listen to the whole record through and like allow themselves to feel whatever comes up. Yeah, you know, and like relate to the songs however they want to relate to them. Or if they hate it, just turn it off. You know, that works
for sure. Awesome. So you talked a little bit about being able to work on some things during COVID and having an album coming out. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've got coming?
Oh, I'm so excited for it. We have a full-length record coming out probably in August, and we'll totally be sending you like some singles probably like soon. You know, soon.
Awesome.
But it's just a really cathartic record and really just sort of explores all of it, you know, like isolation and just the highs and the lows, and yeah, it's a fun record. I'm excited about it.
COVID.
I look forward to hearing it.
2020.
Yeah. Is there anything that you guys are excited for like once we kind of get into the post-COVID era? Anything that you
Pretty much everything.
Pretty much everything. Well, because we were like, I mean, we haven't really been doing anything other than work, you know. I think that is a similar story, but it'll be really cool to do shows again. I'm looking forward to playing shows so much.
Awesome.
Playing shows, people not dying across the world.
Yeah,
it'll all be good. It's all roses, really.
Yeah, definitely.
It'll all be good.
Not dying. People not dying. Shows.
Exactly. Awesome. If you guys could pick anyone to tour with, who would it be?
Oh, that's a hard question.
Does it have to be a band, or could it be like a historical figure?
A historical figure?
Sure, it could be anyone.
I don't know. That's where my mind went immediately. Like,
You're like, who do you bring? Like,
that's a good question.
I don't know who you bring. I don't know who I'd bring as a historical figure because I don't know.
Like
I don't know who wants to be in the
Buddha or
van.
something like that.
The Buddha. I feel like the Buddha would be like, why am I in this van with you?
I mean, if you brought someone out of from like 6,000 years ago, they'd have no context of why they were there, which would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'd say the Buddha, or like, I don't know, who's great. Who do we like?
And the Buddha's cool.
The bands. We have the Buddha for
the Buddha for a historical figure. We have some really good buds that we play with a lot when shows are happening. Tart from Detroit. They're so amazing.
Maybe Aerosmith, Tart, or the Buddha. That's our answer.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, we're tour with Aerosmith. It's gonna happen.
Or Tart or the Buddha. We're all four.
Hopefully all four. Get a tour bus.
That's two.
The Buddha gets his own room.
Perfect. Sounds like a great tour, honestly.
Yeah, it's gonna be
We're
fun.
coming to Iowa. Be ready.
Yes, love to hear it. We need more artists here.
You have so many though. We love Iowa.
Oh, that's awesome. It's so hard to find like venues to work with and stuff here. But all right. So the next couple questions I have is, what would your guys' dream collab would be?
Dream collab. Well, other than the Buddha, Tart, and
Yeah.
the other.
Well, we already did one. Skirt was pretty much a dream. Like, we love them.
We're doing a collaborative project that, I mean, I don't know when it's going to come out, with Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. They're based out of Wisconsin, and
Oh, awesome.
so that'll be really fun because, you know, they're amazing and they're cool people.
I guess a dream would be someone who doesn't do music, like something weird or like visual art or like, you know.
I don't know. I want to collaborate with Suzanne Vega. That would be cool.
Sure. All right.
Like, get Suzanne Vega to come and sing a bunch of loud music. That'd be fun.
Awesome. That sounds super cool. Both of those ideas sound super cool, actually.
Thank you.
Susan Varga, give us a call.
Susan Vega. 1-800-LUNG.
Yes.
Just kidding. That's not a number.
Awesome. My final question for you is, who are you guys listening to right now? What are your favorite artists?
Ooh, I love this band called Afro Rampo. They're a Japanese band. They're really, really cool. And then also More Jewelry, Moore Jewelry, based out of Philadelphia.
M-O-O-R.
No, it's Moor. I thought there was an E. Well, anyway,
It's good.
look it up. They have an album that they released this past year that's like life-changing and so dark and so good. Oh my God. Yeah. So that's
Awesome.
on repeat in my speakers. What are you listening to?
Beauty Pill. That's about it.
Beauty Pill.
Classical music. Nothing crazy.
Sounds awesome. Great. All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this with me. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, thanks for chatting.
Yeah, thank you.
This has been fun.
All right. Then are you ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. Do you just want to start by telling me a little bit about how you got into making music?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a big question, and I'm happy to tackle it. I think I started playing piano when I was really young, like classical piano when I was 6, and then eventually I moved to guitar because I got into like rock and roll and pop music when I was 10, and it seemed like the natural thing to do. And in like middle school, my parents, for like a birthday present, got me a little like Pro Tools like recording software, so I could, you know, record myself playing guitar and singing and stuff, and that really got me into songwriting and music production when I was maybe 14. And so like recording music and recording myself and layering tracks on top of each other was like, that's always been a part of my process, and like it really informed like how I listen to music, what kind of music I really love. You know, I'm always listening to the production and stuff. But let's see, like, yeah, like middle school and high school, I got really interested in folk music and singer-songwriter music, like, you know, Paul Simon and Paul McCartney, and more modern stuff too, like the Shins, and, you know, just everything that felt good to listen to. And yeah, spent 8 years touring full time with a band, and sort of transitioning to really focusing on my solo project in the midst of that. And then now no longer a part of that band, and I am just focusing on my solo work.
Yeah, awesome. So would you say that those are the things that led you to the sound that you have right now?
Yeah, in terms of this new album, Gualala, yeah, absolutely. This album is, how do I describe it? I don't want to say necessarily say it's a departure myself, but it sort of is. It seems more like an arrival, if you were to ask me. It seems a little more affirmative, in my opinion. But yeah, this album, I'm bringing in kind of what feels like influences that have influenced me my whole life. I think up until this point, my music, my recorded work with my band Steep Ravine and my solo work has been very much kind of acoustic and or rock and roll with a mix of sort of organic electric instruments. And this album, I was like, I moved to New York and I started taking classes in audio production at the new school, and electronic and pop music production just started really making sense to me and inspiring me. And it reminded me a little bit of, like, I don't know, what I liked when I was 10. I felt like I was getting back in touch with like a deeper me. And so, yeah, this album is kind of like me fusing my songwriting to just a new production style musically, which is,
Okay.
yeah, feels really positive and inspiring to me right now.
Yeah. Are there any particular like stories or influences that like went into certain songs that you'd maybe want to share?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, in terms of kind of the album as a whole, I feel like the image that comes to mind is me in New York walking around in this new place, moving from San Francisco, well, actually north of San Francisco, in like a small town. So I kind of grew up in like a sleepy like suburb. So moving to New York was really intense, and in a positive way. It was a little scary too, but like being alone out there. But everything was so new, and I would like walk around the Hudson River at night listening to, I just wanted to listen to stuff that wasn't what I used to listen to. And I was listening to a lot of like Cyndi Lauper and Prince and Kraftwerk, and like what I thought were like the quintessential pop electronic sort of, the classics, just to really familiarize myself with the history of what I was getting into. And yeah, I guess that leads me to like the very first song on the record, called I Will Never Know. It's hard to describe right off the top of my head, but I referenced the Chuanza, which is a Taoist text I was reading. And I guess to me, moving to New York, walking around, thinking about Taoist ideas and listening to electronic music was just like, it almost had this playful feeling in my head of just like kind of like rising above the intensity of the fact that I had made this huge transition in my life and kind of floating above it. And so the song is kind of about me, metaphorically like escaping out of a skylight into space and kind of looking down at the world and feeling detached from it, but like in a positive way. And that's kind of like a metaphor, I think, to how I was feeling when I really started working on this project.
Okay.
How's that? Does that work?
Yeah, that's
I can talk
awesome.
about other songs too, but
If you want to, you're welcome to if you have other great stories.
yeah, sure. Well, actually, I'll talk about one more that comes to mind. The second song, This I Swear, is actually a song that I wrote when I was 14. I'm 28 now, but so like to me, that's a really long time ago. But I don't know. I like a lot of these songs are brand new, but I always wanted to put that song on an album, but it never quite fit. It was like this song that I wrote when I was a little kid, about like going out to sea on a boat and like arriving at like the lyrics are like, with my two hands I'll build a boat, cast a sail, and steal away. And it's about like going somewhere but actually finding that when you get there you're home. So like that departing is actually arriving, which actually kind of works with what I was saying earlier. But I didn't really ever find a way to express the song until I started exploring electronic music techniques. And then suddenly I was like, oh, this song, I finally have like an outlet to like express the emotions and the sounds that I want to express in this song. So there's another one.
That sounds really, really cool. Is there anything in general that you think you'd like your audience to take from this album, either about you or life in general?
I think for me, if you look at it in terms of the other 7 albums I've released, this is just, I don't know, to me it represents me just really having an open mind, you know, not being like mediated by like genre. And I think, yeah, I think just like if I could try to like, you know, express to people like just how healing and positive it is to just be open, especially, you know, in general, but with creativity, your own creativity, like having an open mind and not boxing yourself in by accident, you know, just in your own head with like, you know, stepping out of your comfort zone. So I guess that's something I'd like to impart on folks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any song that you would maybe consider to be your favorite?
On the album, on this album in particular. Oh, that's hard. They're all my babies, you know, but I like different ones for different reasons. Like there's 3 instrumental songs on the album, and to me those are really me kind of like giving a nod to influences having to do with like film scores. Like I got really into film score composition when I was in New York. I've always been really interested in that, but I was studying it more and like getting into like really like cool electronic scores, like John Carpenter or Angelo Badalamenti, who did Twin Peaks and stuff. So I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I think in terms of the instrumentals, the title track to me, it's called Que Viva Gualala, which is a pretty strange title, but it was actually I was referencing a movie called Que Viva Mexico by Eisenstein, like a really old school filmmaker. And anyway, so that song I'd like to highlight because it's kind of like a playful, like kind of bossa nova song, but it's at the same time like it's kind of like playful and also emotional for me at the same time. But in terms of like a song, I think I'd like people to really to know is important to me is Buckeye Bow. That's a song that, you know, if you listen to it, it's a song of, you know, lost love. And I don't know, that was an intense song to record for me. And it took me like 4 years to really like express that song. So the emotions are kind of old, but the expression of it is very new to me. So that's one. Yeah.
Was in creating this album, was there any issues you found with the like putting it all together during a pandemic?
That's a good question. I I did most of this in my home all of this in my home studio, which was moved around a little bit. Like I started it in New York, finished it in Maine, where I am now. Also went home to California and brought like my laptop to mix a little bit of it. But honestly, the pandemic kind of, I think I don't want to say I embraced the pandemic, but I embraced what was happening and was like, all right, this is what I'm working on. And I think actually the isolation helped me learn a lot about electronic music techniques. So it was a kind of a one man operation. So the pandemic kind of helped me
Yeah.
finish it. Yeah.
There's a good thing you can take from it, you know?
Yeah, right. Exactly. This is my pandemic album.
So has there been anything that you've been particularly missing from during the pandemic that you're planning on doing once everything kind of boils down?
Well, definitely. Like, just, you mean in terms of music or in general?
Both, really.
Yeah, I do really look forward to performing live again, and one day hopefully not having to think about social distancing and masks, and just getting back into some sense of comfort being around other people, because even walking on the street, there's just like that kind of jolt of anxiety when somebody comes near you, and you want to protect yourself and them. And so I'm definitely looking forward to just that kind of anxiety decreasing, and people going to concerts again. And I really miss that, and just gotten so used to a life where the only person I really see is my girlfriend. And as it's as great as it is to be with her all the time, it's hoping to have more social gatherings. But yeah, just the things you'd expect. That I can't think of anything super unique that I'm missing right off the top of my head right now.
Is there, if you could pick someone to see live once everything kind of calms down, is there a specific artist that you're dreaming to see?
Yeah, let me think about that. One of my favorite artists is Deb Talon. She's one half of a band called the Weepies. I don't know if you've heard of them. They make just really good feeling pop music, like folk pop. And her solo project is actually so inspiring to me. I'd love to see her perform. She doesn't perform a lot though. So, but yeah, I'd love to see her. Who else off the top of my head? I don't know. I kind of want to go back to New York City and just see a really like a pop concert, like Billie Eilish or something. Because I've never really gone to a pop concert like that, but I've been kind of getting more into just mainstream pop recently, and that'd be kind of fun. Shake me out of my comfort zone a little bit.
They're always a good time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Have you been to those kinds of concerts?
I've been to a few bigger stadium shows, so it's been a good time. There's not a lot that comes to Iowa, but
yeah. Yeah, that sounds fun. I think I saw Eric Clapton in a stadium. That I think is the only stadium concert I went to. But yeah, I'd like to do another one of those. It's, yeah. Yeah.
Is there anyone that you'd particularly like to collaborate or work with soon or coming?
Gosh. Nothing comes to mind. I mean, I have so much admiration for a lot of artists, but imagining myself collaborating in the near future, I can't think of anybody. But yeah, I don't know.
Is there anybody?
No answer. No, I just said I don't know if I have an answer to that one. Yeah.
Is there anyone if you could perform with anyone, is there a dream person that you'd like to collaborate with?
I mean, yeah, dream person. That's easier to. Yeah, let's think about dream people. I really liked Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney is one of my favorite artists, but recently he put out you probably his three Imagined album. I just thought that was really cool. I never seen anything like that where he kind of made a record and then made it again with a different take on it, with collaborating with current pop artists. And yeah, so if I'm being honest, I'd love to collaborate with Paul McCartney. Yeah.
Would you mind telling me a little bit about who you're listening to right now and what's on your playlist?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually made a playlist that I put on my like Spotify page. Let me look at it really quick because it's Gualala influences. Where is it? Well, there it is. So yeah, I'll just read a few of these. Kate Bush. Are you a fan of Kate Bush? Yeah, I love her work. She's like old school, but man, she's just like so creative. Cyndi Lauper, Kraftwerk, as I mentioned before, Prince, Peter Gabriel. I actually have I have an Ariana Grande song on there that I just think is like the best song ever. I heard my girlfriend listening to it, and I was like, oh my God, like I can't get this song out of my head. The song POV. I loved it. It's so good. I listen to it all the time. I really actually for this album, and I say actually, I don't really need to be prefacing everything with that, but like my taste has always been a little bit old school. Like I've always been like looking to the past for influences, just kind of been my default. But this album and going into the future, I'm like, I really want to be inspired by people who are making music now more, because I feel like I don't know, like I'm always going to be influenced by like 70s classics and 80s classics and etc. But like just listening to like I have a Mac Miller song on this playlist that just the production style of it was from his album Circles, and the song was Good News, and I just love the production. And I think John Bryan, who does a lot of film scores I love, like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He produced the album, I learned, which makes sense because I was like, man, this production feels really like familiar but really modern. So there's that. I have a John Mayer song on here called New Light. It's a little bit of a guilty pleasure, but this album to me was kind of a guilty pleasure album, kind of just trying to embrace that. I have a Daft Punk song on here, Digital Love. Daft Punk was really inspiring to me when I was making this record. I listened to them a lot in like high school, with my friends and stuff. And like, but as I was learning more about electronic music and especially listening in terms of like, okay, what kind of equipment, this is a little dorky, but like, I get a little dorky about music production. Like what equipment were they using in like the 90s when they were making this stuff? Or like Air, that's a band too. That's just like, man, they're using a lot of classic 80s and 90s equipment. And just listening to that, thinking about like sequencers and synthesizers and drum machines that were from that time. And that was really inspiring for this album because I used a lot of that kind of equipment as well as some modern stuff too. Let's see, who else is a few more. I have a lot of Paul McCartney on here. One of my favorite albums right now. And have you heard of the album McCartney 2? Mm-hmm. It's he made it in 1980, and it was really quirky. Like it was him kind of experimenting with electronic music in like a way that was such a departure from his other stuff. I feel like it got panned pretty hard and remains maybe slightly panned, even though if you're Paul McCartney, like something being panned still means it's as famous as anything. But like yeah, but that album is so cool. It's like really a lot of humor and like him using all these classic synthesizers in a really quirky way. And yeah, there's a few influences. That's what's on my playlist right now.
Okay. Yeah, those are all awesome. I love to hear.
Yeah. You resonate with some of those?
I do, yes.
Yeah, cool. Good.
So my last question for you is
what
for you in the future after this album?
Sorry, say that one more time. The signal was breaking up.
You good?
Yeah.
What do you expect from you after this album?
Let's see. I have sort of not been performing for the past few years. You know, of course, from the pandemic. Also, when I left my band in 2017, I sort of, it's kind of just my energy went into going to New York, studying film scoring and audio production, and sort of like just kind of reassessing my goals as a musician. And I think I've felt recently like, it's time. I really, with this new album, I want to get back out on stage and perform, but in a different way, like maybe using some more like, some kind of fusion of electronic instruments and acoustic organic instruments, and just like go about performance in a totally new way, so just like kind of a new chapter for me in terms of how I'm getting out there and performing live. Also, there's a big shift, and maybe I'm a little late to the game on this one because this has been happening for a while, but like just the people are putting out singles more. I think just in terms of my tendency towards, sort of like old school approach to music making. I love albums, but I also am seeing like, albums as a release instead of singles. But now I'm sort of feeling like I don't have much of an opinion about that anymore. I think that it's cool to engage people more frequently as a musician, putting music out more often, I think that's kind of what the wind is blowing in that direction. I have no reason to resist that. So I want to just put out more music more often.
Well, we can't wait to hear all of it.
Thanks so much. Yeah. Cool. Can't.
All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this with me. I really appreciate it. This was so much fun.
Yeah, I really appreciate it too. It was good to meet you, and yeah.
All right.
Thanks everybody.